Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another video here. Just another boxing discussion video here. Dealing with Devin Haney, Bill Haney, Bernard Hopkins, Ryan Garcia, all of that went down on Friday night. Because as you know, Ryan Garcia, after he finished Fonseca in the first round, Devin Haney, he stepped into the ring, and he made it known that he want to fight Ryan Garcia next. And Ryan Garcia, he said likewise, he wants that fight next too because he feels like he's the champion. But as we all know, like, I didn't really get too excited because I've seen this before in the boxing game. Been seeing it for over 20, almost 30 years now. And anytime somebody steps into the ring, if another fighter steps into the ring, and he calls a guy out, that doesn't necessarily mean that fight's going to happen. Because, it's still not up to the fighters, even though it should be. There's still the powers that be that'll say, hey, if I want my guy in there, or if I'm scared my guy might lose, and there goes my cash cow, so there's always that type of thinking in there. So just because Devin Haney stepped into the ring doesn't mean that the fight was 100% made. That's an explanation for y'all casuals out there. But after the fight, backstage, Devin Haney and Bill Haney, they approached Bernard Hopkins and they questioned B-Hop about making this fight. And B-Hop, of course, gave that diplomatic, what do you call it, that political answer where he didn't flat out say what was on his mind, that he didn't flat out say he wanted to fight to marinate, but that's basically what he was saying. He was basically saying that these guys can fight a lot of the other 135 pounders and become that climax. Basically, he wants them to meet at the top. They can fight these other guys. Ryan can fight a Luke Campbell or Linares, which I would like to see him fight Linares first, maybe one fight before he fights Haney. Haney, I guess he could fight one of the other guys like Tank or, Luke Campbell or somebody. But the thing is, I kind of agree and disagree with that, which I'll come back to. But Devin Haney, he also said that Fonseca, when he was talking to B-Hop, that Fonseca was a nobody, which I really don't think so. I disagree with that because, on paper it looked, competitive, which it should, because Fonseca had common opponents like guys like Tevin Farmer and Tank. And it was up to Ryan Garcia to prove that Fonseca's not in his lane. So take that guy out and then we can move up, which is why, first I say Devin Haney, people are questioning his record too, his resume. They're saying, well, who the hell has he fought? But the thing is, Devin Haney, he's calling Ryan Garcia out because he does want these names. He's trying his best to get names too. So you can't really say, oh, well, who has he fought? The guy's 21. He's still in the come up. Ryan Garcia, he's 21. He's still in the come up. So they want to put names and they want to put, guys on their resume that are undefeated and, in this other lane that are doing their thing too. So a fight with Ryan and Devin definitely makes sense, even if you feel like they don't have A-listers on their resume, but that's what they're working towards, that's what they're trying to get to. And that's why, again, I say he wants to make this fight because it's a good time to make it. They both share an amateur history that goes back, at an early age. How many times did they fight? They fought like, I'm going to say 6 times, so between these two, they have a lot of history. At the same time, they carry a lot of weight with these younger boxing fans. So if younger boxing fans and the younger generation, they want to see things now, so why try to let that marinate with this, short attention span that these, the younger generation has, Think Ryan Garcia, he's a young Instagram star. He brings in the casuals, the thirsty ladies and that basic crowd. Devin Haney, he's bringing in his crowd as well. He's bringing in some casual fans too. And he's also bringing in people, crossing over to, the rap industry, the reality show stars, those type of artists. So, and he's also got his own promotional company at 21. So now would really be a good time for, a guy like Haney and Garcia to link up. Haney didn't go over to the zone for nothing. So no need to marinate the fight. These guys can actually do it now because they both carry enough weight, I think, to bring in a lot. Trying to wait for a climax at this point, letting these two build up might be really a mistake. Because anything can happen in the game. We've been seeing that lately. Anything could happen outside the ring or in the ring that could derail this fight. As of lately, the consistency with these champions, there's really no need to try to ride this fight out and try to risk somebody, possibly taking an L and just messing things up. We've already seen it with guys on the other level like Thurman and Spence. That fight's gone. Charlo and Hurd, that fight's gone. And, of course, the biggest fight, Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. that fight could still happen. But as far as like what we really wanted, that fight is gone. So there's really no need to milk this fight now when we're already in a generation of guys with short attention spans anyway. So if you think of it like this, these two already have a history, that says that, they want, they want to meet up, they want to fight. But who says that this could be the only time they fight? If these two guys are really as good as they say they are, they could compete now. They could fight now at the start of their prime, and they could possibly meet again when they both moved on and became champions, maybe in separate weight classes or something. Maybe whenever they're 26 or 27, they could do it again to see how far they came since the last time, since one of the other lost. So I think they still need to really kind of, keep that steam going. I think they could possibly keep that steam going just by the way, they're they approach the game. So if they fought now, that would probably build up, more history between, hey, Ryan might lose, or hey, Devin might lose, and then they might just go off and do their own thing, and then they can come back and meet again to see how each of them, came along since then. And this is a similar situation to what B-Hop has gone through. So B-Hop need to stop, playing like that, trying to marinate this thing, because if he remembers back, May 22nd, 1993, Roy Jones and Bernard Hopkins, they both fought for the IBF title when Hopkins was number 1 and Roy was number 2. And when they were still considered like promising fighters, but not fully at their prime, they were still kind of considered green. And they haven't really had neither one of these guys really had big resumes at the time. This was their coming out fight. Nobody was telling them to wait. Nobody was telling them to fight all these other guys and meet several years later. They fought at their young age. Granted, it wasn't like an amazing fight, but when they both moved on and became major champions, they could have fought again. So that potential is there for Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney to do it again, So the only thing that would be messing that fight up, if you think about it, would be like money or ego, And I think that Devin and Ryan, they're making enough money, and their egos aren't that big where at this point where they'll say, oh, I'm too good to fight this guy, or if he's the A side, I'm walking. I'm not taking the fight. I think both of these guys can really come to terms because, they're a little bit more humble. They come off as like, they talk a lot, but I think they're a little bit more humble because you remember Roy and Bernard, they did their fight, on the come up out of their prime, on the come up. And then after that, they didn't fight again until they were out of their prime. They could have fought again whenever B-Hop, he wanted to unify the middleweight division. He did that. Roy became the undisputed light heavyweight champion. They could have met up somewhere then, and then that would have been prime, Jones and Hopkins. We could have seen how far they came, but there's still potential for these two guys to do that, even if they fought now. So I just think that, all in all, I just kind of think that Golden Boy, they want to stall out. They kind of want to over milk it. And like I said, that's a big mistake. That's a big mistake to do that because, like I said, with this inconsistency with champions, they could be missing out on something big. We already missed out on Thurman Spence, Charlo Hurd, and like I said, Wilder Joshua. About to miss out on, I really hope we don't miss out on Spence Crawford, because like I said, there's them things that can happen out of the ring, whether it be personal problems or accidents or things like that could stop a fight. So they need to stop stalling out. While these guys are young and able, just let them get in the ring and fight, man. And again, respect to somebody, respect to Bill Haney. I'm glad that he's in his son's corner the way he is. Just the way he approached the situation. He was at Hopkins' face like, yo, like, can we get this fight? We're not playing. Answer the question. Can we get this fight? What's the answer? And finally, Bill Haney said his last statement was, if we can't get any of the fights we want at 135 pounds, we move up to 140. And that was basically his mic drop. He walked away. And that's what I want to hear, He wants to hear yes or no. Can we get this fight? But like Hopkins said, he wants to try to draw it out and do it, and try to make this thing bigger. But, hey, Bill Haney said, if we can't get that fight, move up to 140, we fight Mikey. Hey, you know what I mean? That they want it. They're chasing legacy. They're chasing big legacy. And I think Ryan Garcia, he wants to fight too because, recently he called out Tank. Now he's calling out Devin. So it's really up to the powers that be, man. It's really up to Golden Boy and how they want to do things, man. But yeah, that's all I got on this, man. I just kind of wanted to go in and rant on that a little bit, man, because I really don't like it now whenever guys try to make fights marinate. Fights have to happen. Fights have got to happen, especially like I said, the way things are going now. Like, it's not the same as it was before. Like, everybody was down to fight more than once. you weren't considered a nobody if you lost just once. Now everybody's so trying to hung up on keeping the O. You know, it's kind of like the Floyd Mayweather curse. See, Floyd has his O because of his boxing style and his discipline and his overall dedication to the game. You know, his O was kept because that was his style that took him that far and kept him undefeated. But like when you start protecting guys like now, you know, it's taking too many tune-ups to stay busy fights, just to hold on to that O. And then when they get in there with the major guy and they lose, you know, people want to count him out because, you know, he was never really tested throughout the game. But back in the day, guys would have like 4 or 5 losses, or even, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses, and they would keep going. You know, you would still consider great. Like if Ryan or Devin, whoever the loser is in this first fight, like I said, they could come back and do it again, man. So just make the fight happen now. You know what I mean? Just go ahead and make it happen. But let me know in the comment section what y'all think, man. I'm gonna post this on the Jab Effect YouTube channel as well as on my channel on Combo Breaker 99. Let me know what y'all think. Is this fight gonna happen? Should it happen right now? I'm cool with it. What about y'all? But make sure y'all subscribe. Combo Breaker 99, Jab Effect. I'm out. Peace.